Let's do this. All right. Let's get going. Morning. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Little bit late to the start here, but not a big deal. There's lots going on today. Um, Economic calendar doesn't mean much, but we are heading into the Super Bowl of earnings. Next week it's just nuts. We do have some financials, some big financials dropping this week to get the ball rolling, but you guys can see here that there's a massive spike, right? So right now we're talking about 9 earnings before, 7 earnings after, 11-3, 11-0. Monday, 83 earnings drop. After hours, 100 more drop. So we are headed full tilt into earnings season. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, full tilt into earnings season. So that'll be something that we definitely want to take a look at. What I find interesting, guys, was heading into earnings season, and I have space launch next week, so I'm not quite sure where my attention is going to lie. Obviously, for you guys that are not in space, I want to be covering some of the earnings, as well as some of the earnings are hopefully going to set up some of my Q1 plays that I'm starting to take a look at. So, heading into Q1, I'm looking into the retail sector. I'm looking at stimulus checks going out into the financial sector. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. Just going through the news here real quick. Any of these headlines here? This is big. Yeah, I can't imagine that news of a direct offering is going to go well for RCL. They already are aware how bad that industry is struggling. I don't think there's been any signs whatsoever of uh, any signs of movement forward on stimulus. I think right now the Supreme Court is pretty much locked in on what's going on. So let's head to the tip ranks here. We'll check the portfolio. We'll break down some of the opening news, and then we'll take it from there. Um, I do want to check the bio calendar. It's been a little while since I dove in there. Mhm. All right. 61,000 out of 190. That's looking pretty solid. This guy here. Ugh. This guy here. I tell you, he hurts. He hurts. The Seven Tigerman guy. Um, I need him to get rid of this sell on ACRX. He's the only one holding this thing down. Let's see if I can find him. Maybe if I search bio. I think I'm just gonna try to connect right to his boss, and we'll see what we can do there. Um, he hasn't responded to a connection notice. We've got Elon Musk here. Okay, trending. Okay, so that's impressive. That's a mic drop. So she's here in front of a panel of senators that are grilling her on her legal history, the cases that she's ruled on, what her thoughts are on upcoming cases in the Supreme Court. Uh, obviously the politicians that are super busy have to have a pile of notes, and you often see that on these Senate panels where they've got large piles of notes and they're flipping through folders and taking things out and reading it off the page. Somebody asked her the question. So, what notes are you referring to? Um, she then holds up this tiny little notepad that she's got in front of her, and there's nothing written on it. It just says the Supreme or the U.S. Senate. It has the letterhead on it, and that's it. She has no notes. Sorry guys, forgot that when I go full screens there, it doesn't. He's right. That is impressive. That they're shredding your entire career and you're so confident in what you've done and what you know that you can sit there grinning with a notepad. Like, I want to see what the rage is because there's got to be rage. Here it is. No, that's not impressive. She's not taking these hearings seriously, and that's because she knows she's a shoo-in no matter what. I mean, the some of the conjecture here is interesting. She knows what her lies are, no notes needed. Like, hmm, oh my goodness. I I think that a lot of people fail to see what the magnitude of this is. Like some of these comments are, well, this is not impressive. If I was applying for a job and people asked me about my life, what I'd done, and the job I was applying for, surely I'd be prepared with answers too. And it's like, we're we're not talking about applying to McDonald's here, folks. We're talking about the Supreme Court of the United States of America. There's a little bit more due diligence that has to go into that. Just like, just a little bit, right? Like, it Well, that's not true. So the last and that's one of the things that otherwise she would have been a senator. Ouch. Um, so the last two Democrat approved Supreme Court justices showed up with legal files. They showed up with their cases. So that when they got grilled, they had their legal cases there to refer to. She's just willing to be there and respond. Okay. So this senator here is reading directly out of a law book and saying, "I want to know if you whether it's illegal under federal law to intimidate voters at the polls." And the judge's answer is that I can't answer to a hypothetical situation because you haven't actually presented a case. As a judge, what my job is to sit down in front of a case where you have two people, somebody defending it and somebody attacking it. I take a look at precedent, all the other cases that came before. I speak to other judges and get their feedback. I write an opinion on it and then I rule on it. That's how being a judge works. And the senator goes, "Well, actually, here, let me tell you how you should rule on that. Right here, it says in this federal law, this is against the law and has been for 40 years." And it's like, okay, great. That's easy to read off of that piece of paper. But when a case gets to the Supreme Court level, it's not going to be black and white like that. It's not. Um, so uh, let's say the suppression of right wing media happens in a state like California, for example. Is that going to be tried under federal law for intimidating voters? Um, Saying that you're rounding up ballot boxes at Republican offices, is that intimidating voters that are voting Republican in California? Like these are the the what is the word for it? It's not the niceties, but the devil's in the details when it gets to the Supreme Court, right? Oh man. End of the week it'll be done. She'll be a Supreme Court justice and we can move forward from this. Hopefully Trump does something to pull the attention off of her. Elon Musk apparently is an Overwatch player. Confirmed. Okay. So it is Wednesday, guys. I do expect there to be less news here. As far as the earnings schedule goes, we've got who do we have Wednesday? Wells Fargo this morning. That one's important for me to watch, guys. That's going to drop around 7:40. Wells Fargo for me is looking like a play, and I know a lot of people are going to give me some shade when I say this, but I am looking for Wells Fargo to decline on its earnings and then set me up for a potential position. What I'm seeing on Wells Fargo is this, guys. This massive fall from January. January opened up the year at around $54 a share. Then it proceeded to just dump off the face of the earth. Down to about $25. So at the absolute bottom on COVID, it was 25.25. Right now, it's 24.77. This is heading into earnings. Like normally there's a buy up the day before earnings. There was no buy up on Wells Fargo. The expectation is that this is going to continue to fall. So this is a big deal for me. I think earnings come out, they do more damage, and we see this fall below the 52-week low. I think we see this fall below the 22. And then as we head into next year, I think we see the stimulus bring this back. I think we see the stimulus take this really, really high, really, really far, really, really fast. And with the vaccine coming in the new year, we start to see recovery. The banks, in turn, will also see recovery. In my opinion, this is far oversold. Bank of America is today. Goldman Sachs is today. Another one of the China Hustle education stocks is today. They don't actually have that functionality. Is that what? Oh man. Okay. 30% think that this is gonna beat. Morning, Saki. Earnings preview. They're expecting them to go down by half. Yeah, definitely throw it. Yeah, if you guys have tickers you want me to look at, I'm more than happy to do that. Just throw it out. XXII. 22nd Century Group. This is real estate, right? Oh, plant biotech. Ah, it's cannabis. Modified risk tobacco product approved for VLN, which is in very final stage of FDA approval since posted 28 days ago with the CEO. Study shows that 60% of smokers are interested in lower nicotine tobacco products. In the US only, there are 34 million smokers. According to CEO, the company has everything set up and ready to commercialize VLN 90 days after MRTP approval from FDA. The stock is 80 cents now, but it's been up to $4 2 years ago. Ooh, Cybot, part of the Simp Gang. Oh, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. I always love it when Germany swings through. Um, okay, Saki, I don't like this. Okay. Um, yeah, it's a reduced nicotine cigarette. People are going to vapes. This is burning. This is a combustible cigarette. Is their product though? So we can't say going to vapes. What we have to my issue with this is I find smokers are loyal to a brand, right? So when you ask somebody what do you smoke, they've got a brand. They don't smoke kind of whatever. Well, this week I grabbed this. This week I grabbed this. They've got it down, right? I remember back in my smoking days, players light regular. If it was a week where I knew I was going to be outside, it was players light regular king size. To this day, I remember my brand. Um, it, the brand is a big deal, and for those that are, yeah, but there's the disconnect, Saki, and I appreciate what you're thinking, and I like the thought process. My thought process on what you're saying though is, um, it's the actual smokers themselves that have to want to change. And the reason why the tobacco industry is so profitable is because the smokers don't want to change. They don't want to quit smoking, regardless of COVID. They don't care. They want to smoke their cigarette. They don't care. The people that are still smoking today just don't care. They don't care. Until they get that designation that you've got stage 1 lung cancer, they don't want to quit. They don't. They want to smoke their cigarettes. They want to. And as grown ass adults, that's their decision to make. But there's nobody out there who is currently a smoker going, you know what I would really like in a cigarette? I would like a less addictive cigarette that would allow me to taper off of cigarettes. It's just not. If they wanted to get off of cigarettes, there's a wealth of options readily available. They don't need to do it by smoking. To quit smoking by smoking is not in anybody's books. Vape is one potential option for sure, but vape is a different thing, right? When smokers go, "Oh, I'm going to start vaping to try to quit," that's a very very different thing than, "Oh, I'm going to keep smoking combustible cigarettes." The nicotine issue on this only addresses the addictive properties of the cigarette. It doesn't address the other health issues, right? So for the FDA to give this an approval, I'm not saying they're not going to, but for the FDA to give this an approval would be for them to endorse a cigarette. It's still a cigarette. Um, Yeah, I mean, it. What you have to take into account is these are just nicotine reduced cigarettes, so that means that they still have the benzene, the formaldehyde, the tar, the tobacco itself, and this is a combustible cigarette, so it still has the smoke going into your body. This does not diminish in any way the carcinogenics from the cigarette, the poisons in the cigarette. It doesn't in any way reduce the risk to health. Um, the other thing is if you're looking at this play as though somebody like Philip Morris is going to swoop in and buy these guys, I like that play better than to think that these guys are going to become a major player in the industry. Um, it's not that like I see the reasoning, I see the line of reasoning, and I could be totally wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe smokers are looking for something of this. What's up, Horonis? But for me, as far as I know, with smokers, the people that are still smoking do so knowingly, willingly, and addictively, and they've got their own brand, and they have no desire to switch to a low nicotine brand. They like the buzz of the nicotine. That's just kind of my thoughts on it. Now, that being said, you were saying that the stock had been hit by biodegradation. I think Altria needs to say that. I think Altria needs to say that. So that what was that movie called? Anybody remember the name of the movie where the guy's the yeah. Thank you for smoking. This movie here. It's a comedy, but it's about a guy that lobbies for the cigarette companies. Um, that's what this play is. When somebody from Altria goes, "Yeah, we fully support the less addictive cigarettes that are nicotine reduced. We think that's the future of the brand." That's this guy. That's this cigarette lobbyist talking of like, "Yeah, we think that's a great idea and it should be an option for sure." If you want an example of this, take a look at Coke, right? Coke in the 70s and 80s was the king of the game. And then in the 80s, people started to get health conscious about this, right? Like we're feeding our kids corn syrup. What are we going to do about this? Um, what are we going to do about all these chubby kids that are drinking all this soda? And the response from Coke and Pepsi was, "Don't worry, guys, we've got your back. New Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, loaded with aspartame, no sugar." I'm doubtful that the FDA. I lean like 80-20 on a no from the FDA on this. I think in this day and age for the FDA to approve a new cigarette is not going to happen. I very much doubt that they get the approval. The all-time high on this stock is $5. So what happened back in 2014 that spiked this? $2018 was the spike to. This is January of 2018. Okay, so they had a phase 3 trial that was supposed to finish in March of 2018. Philip Morris also had an application for this. So Philip Morris is already on this. That's a major competitor. I don't see why these guys would think that they're first to the gold mine. So let's see. When do they? August, the FDA ordered 3.6 million of the cigarettes, so they're testing them in bulk. There's a short report that shredded the company. Sinks after the FDA hearing in February. So let's see. Okay, so that's not a serious short company that's on them. So Altria and Philip Morris gained as this company lost Scott Gottlieb. He used to be an FDA commissioner who was part of this company, and he dipped. So that hurt the company. In February, the hearing for XXII wasn't looking good, which is what caused the stock to tank 14%. Um, what they believe don't matter. They do have a quick, 90 days is pretty quick. I think the best thing I can tell you, Saki, is I don't like it personally. If you like it, amazing. If they get it, if they get the approval, don't expect it to run too hard. Maybe $3, which isn't bad. 250%, but you have no idea when that's going to happen. I assure you that right now, in the midst of COVID, they are not looking to approve an incendiary cigarette. They're not gonna. They are not gonna give an FDA nod to a burning product. Um, yeah. Sorry, bud. I wish I had better news for you. I really do. I typically like to look at things and see the good in them, but it will die. Yeah, no, it's done. If the FDA doesn't approve that, they're done as a company. They don't exist. Um, all right, all right. Sorry about that, buddy. I often like to give at least a glimmer of hope, but that one looks pretty dire. All right, what's Walmart doing here? Taking steps to discourage crowds and push some bargain hunters online, Walmart is splitting up Black Friday into 3 different holiday sales. First one will start on November 4th. Hmm. Hmm. Do 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 do. Guys, again, huge shout out to Restream. I love everything that they do. If you are a streamer and you're not using them, I recommend you get on there, guys. There's no need to be locked down to a single platform. Amazon has an amazing, amazing platform with Twitch, but there's so many out there right now, guys. YouTube is a big player, Facebook's a big player, LinkedIn, if you can get on it. They are all amazing platforms. And to restrict your community to one, I like to bring them all together. I find often people like to come over here to Twitch as a result of everything that you can do with the community, the votes, the polls, how the platform works. However, that being said, there's a lot of functionality in the other platforms. So if you're a streamer and you're not actively engaged in communities across all the platforms, I really recommend you guys take a look at Restream. Well, I often don't make recommendations. That's one I'm going to make. Restream. That's a marketing recommendation. I can make that one. I'm a professional in that industry. Um, Nobody did. My thought was that it's because we were talking mobile security. Um, I didn't see any news drop with BlackBerry. No, there's no news. It's still up pre-market. It's almost like somebody's listening. There's been a couple of these stocks that I throw out there, and people are looking at me like I'm bonkers, like I'm absolutely nuts. And then they start to do this. They start to just buy up. One that was interesting to me yesterday, guys, that I thought for sure would take off with the rest of the at-home stocks was Waiter, and it has not. This is really good news for me, by the way. So Waiter, for those of you that are unfamiliar with Waiter, Waiter was actually my first big win. It earned itself a delicious little emote on the channel because it turned out so well. This stock should be a $8 to $10 stock. It is not currently. That it is going down into their earnings in a month, less than a month, 2 weeks, is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So, am I still bullish on Waiter heading into their earnings? Absolutely. Their revenue estimate is 54 million. Okay. Their actual revenue last quarter was 60. They have not stopped expanding in the southern states through COVID. They have not. They continue to rocket in more ways than one. Like they rocket and they rocket like to the moon. There is a lot of conjecture about a potential buyout on this company, with Uber Eats and DoorDash looking to buy up all the competitors. Last earnings, and you guys will see this, all of these spikes that happen, this is on earnings. Okay, so earnings tapers back down, earnings tapers back down, earnings kind of went for a run. And I was worried it was never going to come down from 6. And yet, here we are. And this is, again, for me to have the ability to make nearly 100% on a play is just bonkers. We're headed into a second wave. We are. It can't be contested. They've built a phenomenal company that's doing a lot of things right. In my books, this is a big deal. It really is. People will say that I'm biased because I've been in it before and I've won off of it, but I've got this thing that if a company continues to be profitable, so I know that there's a lot of people that like to talk the hype of a stock and that this one is underhyped in the industry. I don't care about that. What I care about is their books. Are they a profitable business? Right? Do they make money? And they make good money. So yeah, I want to see their last When was their last earnings call? I may have to go to their waiter. Food delivery carryout. Yeah, I know that you don't serve my address. I don't care about that. I want to go down to your investors. So they saw an 18% increase in revenue in the second quarter. Their net income for the second quarter was 10.7 million. Their EBITDA was 16 million compared to a loss of 14 million, so they're in the green. Cash on hand was 87 million, so they've got cash on hand. There's no risk to their business model. Um, this is the financials. If you have time to go through them for sure. What I was kind of hoping for was an earnings call breakdown, but it doesn't seem like that's there. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go. They really need to get a PR person because this is not doing it. Okay, annual stockholders meeting. This is just the code. They didn't get anybody to transcribe the meeting. Oh, come on, guys. So this is a sign of a young company, right? That you're not putting out press releases, that you're not putting out if you're not looking for a PR person, you should be. No, I don't want to become a driver. Hmm. Okay, Chief Sales Officer. I'm not filling that out. Connect. Just want to try to connect to some of these people at Waiter and make a few of these professional suggestions. Um, Hey, Timu, what's up? If you guys have stocks you want me to take a look at, please do put them into the chat and I will take a look at them. It is Wednesday, so don't expect that we're going to get a ton of news today. Um, well, I mean, I was trying to look into Waiter a little bit further and get an update, but they don't do regular updates. They don't do regular press releases. Their social media presence is lame. They don't like this company needs some help here. They don't do audio transcripts of their calls. Like, let's just say investor relations doesn't exist. They're not proactive, at least on investor relations. Um, SWBI. Yeah, so every time that there's a shooting or anybody whispers, we're taking your guns, SWBI is going to go. What's interesting to note here, though, guys, is looking at the year. Here's where they were in January, right? And they declined a little bit in March, but not a ton. I mean, they started the year at 529, and their COVID drop took them to 457, so not huge. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Work from home is going to be a big element of it as well. But this is into protests, Black Lives Matters, police shooting people, and now subsequently the election. Um, I honestly think SWBI is a really solid play into the new year, irregardless of who wins. Because if the Democrats come in and say we're taking your guns, SWBI is going to go through the roof. People are going to buy up whatever they can. If Trump wins, you can expect more riots, looting, and protesting. And note how I separate those into three different sections. It's because those are three different things. The protesting, I believe, is legitimate. There are legitimate protesters out there that are protesting an absolute travesty that needs to be addressed in society. Um, that is a real thing, and anybody that says that it's not um, is deceiving themselves. It's a real thing. Now, do I believe that everybody out on the streets is a protester? No, I do not. The people that are stealing from stores across North America, so every time that there's a protest, they take the advantage to break down windows of Nike shops and Gucci shops and Armani shops and steal products. That's looting. So those are looters. And then rioters are the people that just like to set things on fire and pull things down and destroy buildings. I intentionally make a differentiation between the three. The protesters are the ones that stay in the street. They don't cause problems. They have a right to peaceful assembly. They have a right to do what they're doing. And I support what they're doing. The looters and the protesters, not so much. And for those people that are looking to exercise their Second and Fourth Amendment rights, protecting their private person and property, Smith and Wesson is an excellent stock for that. Yeah, Horonis, that's exactly it. The bumps come every time that we hear about a new protest or there's a new city that has a shooting. We know that protests are soon to follow. That's kind of what we're looking at with that. So that's where it takes off. It decay, yeah, it decays when it goes silent. It's very similar to biodegradation in that way. When there is no news, it just slowly goes back down. But it hasn't really gone down that much. It's kind of holding that 16 line. Their earnings is going to be big. I think their earnings is coming up this week as well, or next week. Oh no, it's way out. Yeah, that's just market makers. Up and down a percent on a $16 stock is not really that hard to do, right? Like 12 cents was almost a percent. So for it to go up 15 cents or down 15 cents in a day, it doesn't really, that's not hard, right? It doesn't even have to be 15 cents. It's 16 cents. It's got to go. 16 cents up or down in a day is just the market. That's just the market moving. That's not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. I'll show you. This is the one that this is my baby, right? Um, you want to know what it's like when we're talking pennies? Um, like Smith and Wesson has to go up or down by 16 cents, right? Every time this stock goes up or down a penny, it's half a percent. So I need 2 pennies to make this go up or down a percent in a day. Um, and every day it does that. So every day I see that movement of some kind. Short interest has gone down significantly on this. Why are your earnings so far away? Why can't you be earlier? I don't want to wait till November. I'm an impatient man. I'm just an impatient man. Do 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 do. Pan W versus Net. Yeah, space is up over 22 pre-market. Yeah, space into next week, guys. Those starting Monday, expect to see space really picking up steam. Headed into that launch. Pan W versus Net. So we looked at Net yesterday. Palo Alto. I imagine Robbie, you're an options player, not an equity player, or do you play both? I have both. I have calls and I have equity in space. I'll pull up my options portfolio here and show you guys. Okay, so you're an equity player. So you have to take that into account for sure. These are in a similar sector. Cloudflare is looking to take off with their security suite. I think that's going to be a big deal in the coming years. If you're looking at equity, you're going to get a better position out of Cloudflare. So if I'm an equity player looking at PanW or Net, I pick Net. But you have to do your own due diligence on that clearly. And here's the disclaimer. I'm not offering you guys financial advice. I'm not a financial professional. I'm just giving you my opinion. It's an opinion, okay? Take it, leave it, do with it what you will, but you need to ultimately come to your own decisions as a trader. Now that that disclaimer is done, you can read it in fine detail if you'd like. But we're all grown-ups here. You're making your own decisions. I'm not telling you what to do or how to do it. I'm just giving you what I would do and what my opinion is on any play. But yeah, with Net, if I was an equity player, Net would be the more appealing of the two for me. Another one that you might want to take a look at, which would be Datadog. I don't have a position in Datadog, but it's done quite well this year. If we take a look at so Datadog back in April was $32. It's currently $120. I would take a look at this as well. If you're looking at Palo Alto and you're looking at Net, Datadog might be something you want to take a look at too. Just a thought. Okay, I want to show you guys the options portfolio here. So guys, unlike my equity portfolio, I started with 3 grand Canadian, and we've grown that over the year to what it is now. My options portfolio, I started with $500 on.
And it went all the way down to $100, and now it's clawing its way back. I'm back up to about 3,500 on this. So for the year, looking at about a 600% gain on the options portfolio. I do have space calls 1750s for October 30th. So here those are there. These calls here got them at $1.68. They're going for $4.55 last I looked. If this goes to 30, I'm going to be looking pretty good. I think if this goes to 30, these are going to be closer to the $8, $9, $10 range a piece. And I'll make a couple $1,000s off that play. Which will then have me looking at Wader, I think. The only thing I could find with the BlackBerry bump was I think it might have something to do with the fact that Apple was talking about cybersecurity yesterday. The Biden portfolio, you'd be up 12 grand right now. The Trump portfolio, you'd be down 900. So if you guys want to, if you were here, we took the time to build out a what if Biden wins, what if Trump wins portfolio. The what if Biden wins portfolio is currently up 12 grand. The what if Trump wins portfolio is down 900. So if you guys are looking at indicators as to what might do well, what might not do well heading into the election, well, that's what we're looking at right now. So these portfolios, I should really put an exit date on these and say when I'm retiring them. This one I'm not retiring, but I think I would retire this one now. Retired 10/14/2020. So I mean that's not bad. I would have opened this up. I would have opened this up just before fire season, and I would have made 6,500 on a 62,000 portfolio. So I would have made 10.5%, which isn't bad on the year. As a whole, guys, the SPY on the year. 1 year. SPY opened at 295. We're at 350 right now. So SPY's up 19%, 18.6% for the year. This one ETF over a quarter would have made you 10.5. So just if you have two of these, right? Right now, if you had the fire ETF and the President Biden ETF, something's nutty here with this math. I don't understand what it's doing. What I want to know is, oops, what did I do? I broke it. What is this? N9 divided by 15? What the hell is this cell? Oh, I see. I see what it's doing. Yeah, that's to calculate the allocation. Okay, that's why everything's disappearing. Okay, so what I want to know, this should be the profitability, and it's H5 divided by N9. And
that's clearly wrong. This should be N17. That wouldn't be H5, it would be N9. Oh, I can't change that. Bloody. mm, whatever. It's actually pretty easy to do. Yeah, it's pretty easy to do because it's $100,000 that we started with, so it's 12%. It's 12.4%. I don't know why I'm doing all the math. It's 12.4%. So this portfolio would be up 12%. So just with the Biden portfolio and Fire's portfolio, you would be up 22, 23% for the year. You'd be beating the SPY. If you throw in the churn and burn account, it's up 8.8. So that'd be 30% for the year. So on these three portfolios, entered and exited at the right time, you'd stand to be in a very, very profitable place. And each of these took us, so this churn and burn, that took, I would say, probably 2 hours of DD a piece. That's by 5, so that's 10 hours of studying. Um, what's Martini churn and burn? That's kind of my thought process that Martini and I have broken down a couple of different tickers just to, yeah. I don't know about WPRT. I'm looking at Waiter now. The Waiter's come down as low as it has. I will take a look at the FDA calendar because I wanted to. Yeah, Hronis, go ahead, throw it out there, man. It's Wednesday. We don't have a ton to look at, so go ahead, throw it out there. This ad spend one is probably going to do quite well into the quarter. Again, it's up 8%. What's up, your Wells Fargo? I was talking about Wells Fargo earlier. Okay, everybody buckle up on this, and I know I'm gonna hurt some people with this. I am bullish on Wells Fargo. And I know a lot of people are gonna give me a sideways glance on that, but I am bullish on Wells Fargo. My thoughts on Wells Fargo are it's part of the financial institution. The government doesn't like to let big banks fail, even if it's Wells Fargo. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's corrupt, it's whatever. Yeah, that's true. But there's a lot of corrupt banks out there. Douche Bank and HSBC, at least it's American, right? Um, yeah, I think it's extremely undervalued at $24. I think that I would let it decline a little bit more and into election. Um, I'm going to look to position, I think. Probably. Can't say for certain. I don't know what my entry is going to be. I don't know if I'm going to enter. I just know that at $24, Wells Fargo is undervalued. Their earnings is this morning. So I think they miss on earnings. ACI. Is this Wall Street Bets? No, it's stocks. Okay. ACI. Yura and I were actually having a good conversation on this. I thought January, but Yura told me to actually look at price history, which was a really, really good point. When you look at price history, typically it takes a quarter for the banks to reflect any kind of a cash injection. So if I'm saying that I see them rushing a stimulus immediately post-election before New Year's and really forcing that through, I think that the following quarter, as we head into April, May, is when you start to see the banks reflect that cash injection. Alberton. So this is the grocery retailer. Is that what this company is? They do groceries. Okay, so ACI dropped their second quarter earnings. What's up, little dude? Oh, well, come here. Come here.
Why do I have to do that?
There you go.
Thank you.
Want to say hi, everybody?
Hi.
Camera's up there. Get out of here, little dude. The mini motivator. You'd love to hear that. He literally is my little dude. He's at that point now. The other day, he started up boxing. He's like, when I go to boxing, can you ask them to call me Little Dan? And he's at that point now where he's not Daniel. He's not the little boy. He wants to be Dan. He wants to be like a daddy. He wants to be the man. Do you trade minis? I've got 8 minis. Running around the place. I don't trade them. I don't think the state allows you to trade children, but Ericsson, all of these guys, into Q1, all of these look really solid. Ericsson, Verizon, T-Mobile. No, I don't trade futures. Don't trade futures. I am, for all intents and purposes, guys. I should create a poster of some kind that these are millennials trading rules, but keep it simple is a big one. So I like to be as basic as possible. If you can't explain to me why a play looks good in a very short, concise way, I don't care. If you want to start talking to me about TA, I don't care. I'm coming from 10, 15 years in business. Aflex, thanks for the follow, man. I'm coming from 10, 15 years in the business world. I understand how businesses work. I understand how people think. I understand the news they're dropping, what they're actually saying through that. So for me, I'm an FA trader. I keep it basic. Hello. Speaking of a mini, you need a mini? Hi. Hello. Um, But yeah, I keep things as basic as possible. I trade equity principally. I'm not an options trader in a big way. Yeah, there's 8 of them, Master Cobra Fire. This is the littlest one. This is my other boy. The rest of them are girls. 6 girls and 2 wonderful little dudes. This guy just woke up though, so the bright screen is killing him. Yeah, the kids are rising. 6:30 is go time for my house. I don't know when y'all get started, but that's why I do the early morning stream so that I can get in, get this stream done, and then have a coffee with my wife at 7 before she has to dive into the insanity of being a mom to 8 kids. Honestly, I've got the easier job. I really do. Lady blows me away that that she every single day of her life wakes up to 8 kids. She's an amazing woman. But she lets me hang out with all you degens. So you get started at 6 p.m. Man, you rock it. I don't know that I could get up that early. Where do I see crowd going from here? That's interesting. A new ticker. Yeah, I'm usually up 4:30 ish. That's usually when I start the stream. I'm thinking of pushing the start to 5, just because I've been missing that 4:30 start more and more and more. So, further mini day trader. Thanks so much for the follow, guys. But yeah, typically I do equity. I can speak to commodities. I can speak to that a little bit, but. Oh. Do you want a toy? You want a toy? Huh? You want a toy? Ooh, all kinds of subs and follows and stuff. You guys rock. Thank you. There you go. Who's that? Hmm? Who's that?
Yeah, that's nice. Um. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're in the EU, that'd be great. Um. I always think getting up early is an advantage. That you've put hours in where people put minutes in is always going to be your advantage, regardless of you being a trader or not. I'm getting distracted here with too many things at once. I'm going to go drop my son here back into bed with mama, and I will be right back. Ooh, CrowdStrike. Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about this one. I don't know a lot of details on it, but I definitely want to break it down. So just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I have PTSD, so I don't sleep great all the time. I should say the meds I take have made that a little bit better, but I'm coming into a season where that gets pretty rough. So, um, yeah, my sleep patterns are not going to be fantastic, which means that I'm kind of up and around and whatever. Sometimes that makes it easier to get up because I just haven't slept, and sometimes it makes it harder because I haven't slept and I want to sleep. But I will always be here for market open, guys. I have gone to 2 streams a day. Um, CrowdStrike. Okay, so this is a play into endpoint protection. So this is big. This is like BlackBerry. Um, so my thing is, guys, everybody who's been around the channel for a while knows that I'm very bullish on BlackBerry because I see them making a lot of major plays. CrowdStrike is what they are, and they have been that for a while, but BlackBerry, I think, is the big player in this industry. If I had to pick between CrowdStrike and BlackBerry, I'd pick BlackBerry. Not on the basis that I think one of the offerings is better than the other. I think they have similar offerings. The reason why I say that is because BlackBerry is $5. So if I'm playing on equity, I'd rather have the stock that's $5 that offers the exact same thing that the company is getting $134 a share for. I think BlackBerry has more room to run, essentially, as far as an equity position goes. Now, that's not to say that the endpoint protection industry isn't going to continue a booming. I would probably say I would put CrowdStrike over the next 12 months at closer to 200. And if I check tip ranks here, let's go CrowdStrike. So they've got a 176 high. They don't actually think it's going to go as high as I do over the next 12 months. I'd be the higher than high on this one. They have a conservative high on this one of 174. Any ideas why US ETFs are a no-no in the EU, but options are okay? I don't know. I don't know about the EU trading market, guys. I'm a Canadian who trades in the US. Our trading systems are very similar. Interactive Brokers definitely lets you do everything, but you're trading US options, I believe. You're not trading. Oh, you're trading. I see what you're saying. You're trading US options in the EU, but it won't allow you to trade the ETFs. Honestly, you're not missing out on the ETFs, guys. My policy on ETFs for the most part is I'm not a fan. I can't think of any ETF that I've really, yeah, gung ho, go get them. I know that we've taken a look at a couple. So we took a look at Tan, we took a look at Pets, we took a look at. Actually, that's not true. There is one ETF that I do have an options position in, and it's this one. I really like Interactive. I'm missing it on QQQ. Pelosi dropped $1 million on crowd, so I was curious. Yeah, so that's Pelosi's Financial manager. That's not Pelosi making that decision. She has no clue what's going on. That lady's biggest priority is picking her next salon. You know what I mean? Like she's not there. She's yeah. Unless you're just trying to trade the trend, in which case, this is the only ETF I have any money in, guys, and I picked this up in January of last year. RSX. I knew we were in an election year, and I thought, who's going to win, irregardless of. Yeah, exactly, Timu. It's somebody else that makes those plays for them, which is why anytime anybody gets indignant about the Republicans doing something, it's like, you know that they pay somebody to manage those for them, right? Like they're not actively trading. It's not like they're sitting in the Senate. Can you imagine somebody sitting in the Senate on their Robinhood? Like, yeah, this is boring as hell. Who needs a new Supreme Court justice when I've got Robinhood? Let me take all these degen plays with taxpayer dollars. It's just not happening, right? They've got somebody that manages their portfolio for them for sure. But my thoughts on clean energy, my thoughts on all of those ETFs, guys, is are they great? Sure. TAN's a great ETF, but you can go to TAN and go, okay, this is the Invesco portfolio, yada, yada, yada. Great. Let's go into TAN. TAN ETF report. Overview. I want to know what's inside this, right? So let's see here. Here are the companies that they've got in here. So my thoughts are the top 10 holdings in this are here. You can see them by allocation. Go and look at each of these individually. Go look at Solar Edge. Go look at Enphase. Go look at Xinyi. Go look at First Solar. Go look at Sunrun. Go look at these and see which of these are overperforming and which ones are underperforming. And this is where it takes a little bit more work, right? But just open up the TAN ETF, and this is the top. It looks like this is more than 10, like the top 20 holdings. So this is the top 20 holdings. Go and break down each of these stocks and see what is working and what's not working for them, what's making them money, and then revise their ETF if you want, or just take a single position in the most profitable of those. I I I really am skeptical about ETFs because what people do is they bundle together a sector and they go, okay, well, some of these are dog crap and some of these are really good, and we'll bundle them together so people will buy some of the dog crap with some of the good stuff and kind of level it out. And hopefully the good stuff will outplay the dog crap and it will move up. Now I say that, and I am complicit to the problem, I think, in that I also create my own ETFs, right? So obviously you can't trade these. These aren't publicly traded ETFs, but these are ETFs I've created for myself, saying if I was to build out an ETF, what would it look like? Yeah, sorry. Yours right. I should clarify. This is for equity. I'm talking for means of equity. I'm never talking for the options. You can definitely play TAN on options because the sector will drive the news, and you can play that way. But for equity positions, you stand to gain more on the equity if you just find the winners out of the bunch and take those instead. But I do build my own ETFs, guys, on a variety of situations. And you can see that my win rate on some of these. So this I retired today, made a solid 10.5% on it. This was the Fire ETF I built. The only ones that didn't produce out of, I think it's 20 stocks, there's 3 that didn't produce. Yeah, options is a different animal, guys. Like I said, I and when people ask for option strategies, the way that I play my options is exactly the same way I play my equity. If you look at my options portfolio, let's actually show you here. If you look at my options portfolio, these are plays that I would take on equity. So I had MFA into October at $6. Space obviously into the launch. ACRX I expect to be up by December. ETM by December. Like these are all my equity plays just translated into options plays. RSX being the only ETF in this entire options portfolio. I'm having a hard time now. So originally, my thought process on um space was to exit the day before the launch and just take whatever profit I can get on it, right? But now, when I was looking at the earnings calendar for next week, I tripped across something that made me possibly reconsider. And maybe this is a chance where I can get your guys' opinion. What do you think? So the launch for space is on the 22nd. I'm riding the rumor into the news, right? So typically I would like to get out on the Wednesday, on the 21st, and just take whatever my profits are, especially when it comes to space, because God forbid a shuttle blows up, but if a shuttle blows up, the stock's going to obliterate itself. It's gone and everything in it. So I don't want to ride this actually into the launch. But Thursday morning before open, there is a company called Northrop Grumman, um, who is going to drop their earnings. Now, Northrop Grumman was something that Jacob Ling, I went and found out who it was, but shout out to Jacob Ling here. He came in, he's like, "Oh, have you ever heard of Northrop Grumman?" And I had never heard of them. Apparently, they are massive space players. So now I'm wrestling with myself. Do I still get out on the 21st, or do I let Northrop Grumman, do I let them drop their earnings and drive space hype even more? There is an 82% chance that they beat, or the earnings expectation is 82% of the people expect them to beat. 80% expect the price to go up. So with the space sector, guys, what we've seen is positive news for one is positive news for all. So if we can get Northrop Grumman to drop positive earnings tied to pre-launch, I don't know that I would hold actually into launch. I would get out as soon as the Northrop Grumman earnings come in, but I think I might hold to the day and exit early morning on Thursday. I'm still kind of a coin toss on that. So what would you guys do? I've given you the basic overview of the FA on this. What are your thoughts? Northrop Grumman earnings are on the 22nd. Do you guys, in your opinion, do you think that you would go into the open on space, or do you think that you would take a run for it and just get out on the 21st with your earnings? Or your winnings, I should say. Why not both? um, Interesting. So this is what I love about the market and different styles of traders, guys. There's some very, very clear insight on this. And a lot of different FA, a lot of different approaches to it. Have I seen any movement from space before on Northrop? What I've seen before on space, if I go back to the year chart, so this spike is their own. This spike isn't. This spike isn't. This is other space news. So this was Tesla news. This was Tesla news. I haven't seen Northrop move it before, but it is in the space sector. The other thing that I realized was that where they're launching from is in New Mexico, right? New Mexico is Mountain Time. So I think that's 2 hours off of Eastern, right? There's Central and then Mountain. So market opens 9:30 Eastern. That's 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time. I very much doubt they are looking to do a launch at 7:30 in the morning. So I could still get out pre-launch by playing it the day of the launch. And I'm just wondering if space continues to run up on the day. I don't want to go too close. I don't want to cut it too close and get stuck holding a bag, though. Do they have their own launching site? And this is one of the reasons why this launch is so important. It's historic. It's the first launch from Spaceport America. So this is the first launch from this massive spaceport that's been built. Um, yeah, they're never useless. It's always good to know. I mean, everything in my mind is telling me the smart plays get out the day before, but yeah. So this is the spaceport. It's like supposed to be a commercial spaceport. So the idea is that Virgin Galactic is going to be doing. I don't know if they've got a virtual tour set up or not. You think it's a churn and burn on their money, huh? Oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to ride it into the launch. I wasn't so much looking to play knock as I was looking to hold space through the knock earnings. In the event that knock beats, it's positive sentiment for the space sector. You know what I mean? So, like, this is the spaceport. It's built like an airport, but for orbital flights. All right. Well, I'll continue. I mean, a lot of you guys are saying the 21st, and I think that I have to take that under serious consideration for sure. But as always, guys, I take anything that you guys say in chat as a financial opinion. Well, no, that's typically how things go. You have to build the infrastructure first before you can build the product or service. It takes a really long time to do it the other way around. The shuttles are built; they're ready to go. Just the approval process on a shuttle versus building a spaceport. They probably started both at close to the same time. It's just to get approval from whoever's got to give approval. I don't know if it's NASA or the FAA, but whoever's given approval. Bancorp beats on earnings. What is the expectation on Wells Fargo? How low is the expectation, I'd say? I don't even want Knock to run. I just need it to beat. I need it to beat on earnings just for that headline that says Knock beats on earnings. Okay, so EPS estimate on this, they've had 10 upward revisions and 5 downward. Revenue estimate is pretty close to what they did last quarter. Yeah. And at this point, I think I'm getting closer and closer to that era of moving space into waiter. I think I'm just gonna diamond. You know me, I love to Mel Gibson, right? So I'm probably gonna diamond hands it a little bit longer here. 417 SPY puts. Wow. April puts, huh? Was that the closest you could get to 420? There was no 420 put? You rode them into the dust. Oh, this past April. You rode them all the way into the ground? Yeah. Um, I mean, this isn't huge expectations. They're expecting them to do the same as they did last quarter, which isn't a lot. I say that $17 billion, $18 billion isn't a lot, but this doesn't look like monumental numbers. This is, I mean, next 40 minutes we'll know one way or the other for sure, but I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on this. Can't think of anything else, guys. If there's nothing else you guys want me to take a look at, I'm gonna log off here. I'm gonna go do coffee with my wonderful wife and Bible study with the kiddos, and then I'll be back for 9:20 and hang out with you guys into the market open for an hour or so. Again, guys, huge shout out to Restream. They're the ones that make it so that I can talk to all the fine folks over on YouTube and LinkedIn. 2 minutes to look at CRSR? Absolutely. Yep, I can do that before we go. Let's do that. But first, shout out to Restream, guys. They are amazing. If you're a streamer and not using them, I highly recommend you check them out. Corsair Gaming. This is gaming peripherals, PC. Into Q4, they should do well with sales, which means that they look good into Q1. So from an options perspective, I would probably, in my opinion, be looking at something into April on them. From an equity perspective, it would be into January, February. So I'd buy now and hold through into January, February, and find a nuclear ETF. A nuclear ETF, I imagine it's going to be called Atom or something. Nuclear ETF. Yeah, Zax did upgrade ACRX to a buy. Top nuclear ETFs: NLR, URA, XLU, IDU. Van Eck is probably the one that I would lean into. NLR. There is a nuclear ETF. Everybody have an amazing day. Corsair just IPO'd last week. And they haven't declined like most IPOs are, and that's because they're in the tech sector, headed into Q4 shopping. I think they're going to be okay. The only other one I need to check is, when are the Mattel earnings? 10/22. That's next week. Mattel posts earnings. I'll have to be watching that one too. I'm hoping that Mattel declines. I hope they do poorly on their earnings here. I hope the stock goes back down to $10 so I can take a position. Anyway, I'll catch you guys for market open. I will be back at 9:20 a.m. So if you guys trade actively throughout the day, make sure that you're subscribing. You got the bell, the follow, the notification, all that jazz, so you guys get notified when I go live. And I'll see you guys in a few hours. Take it easy.